Hi, teacher.
Government is not the generator of economic growth. The people are. Senator William Graham of Texas said this. It's a quote I agree with. So why then is Congress and the President trying to put forth economic stimulus plans and bailouts for the auto industry and mortgage companies? Does it make sense? Should they be doing this? Well, I don't think they should. Why? Government can't generate economic growth. You're saying, why not? First of all, it doesn't work. And secondly, it doesn't follow sound economic principles. First, let me begin with how it doesn't work. First, our economy is not meant to work under the government's control. Henry Hazlitt, who wrote Economics in One Lesson, says, it's obvious in the case of a subsidy, or in our case, an economic stimulus or bailout plan, that the taxpayers must lose precisely as much as the X industry gains. And customers, because they are taxed to support the X industry, will have that much less income left with which to buy other things. The result is that capital and labor are driven out of industries in which they are more efficiently employed and diverted to industries where they are less efficiently employed. This means less wealth is created and the average standard of living is lowered compared to with what it should have been. When government gets involved, it messes with the natural way of the economy to work. As the economy works, there's a supply and demand. When the demand for something goes up, the supply increases. When the demand drops, the supply drops. So this is like saying, by bailing out these industries, we should have bailed out switchboard operators on the telephones, but now machines can do it more efficiently. Well, with the machines, now jobs are created building those machines. So the economy works itself out. But another reason it doesn't work is shown through history. I think back to the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, Franklin Delano Roosevelt started his New Deal, a bailout or a stimulus plan for the economy then. But did it work? Milton Friedman says, the Great Depression, like most other periods of severe unemployment, was produced by government mismanagement rather than by an inherent instability of the private economy. The government, in and of itself, hurt the economy. Just think, the Depression started in 1929. The New Deal came in the 1930s, but it wasn't until 1941 that the economy actually was better. Even government websites today say that the New Deal didn't work. This is from the National Park Service's History on the Great Depression from the Eleanor Roosevelt National Historic Site. It says, however, while the New Deal did help restore the gross national profit to its 1929 level, only when the federal government imposed rationing, recruited 6 million defense workers, drafted 6 million soldiers, and ran massive deficits to fight World War II did the Great Depression finally end. It was World War II that got us out of the Depression, not the government. So you can see that from history and from the way the economy is supposed to work, government intervention doesn't help. Plus, it doesn't fit with sound economic reasoning. First, economies left to themselves work best. Adam Smith, one of the most famous economists, says that the economies are driven by an invisible hand, that this is made by profit. People who look to profit for themselves and for their families actually build the economy by producing products that others will want, benefiting them. But when the government gets in, instead of having this hand driving them, the government tries to push it forward. But instead of pushing it, it just slows it down. Inevitably, it hurts the economy. James Gwartney, in Common Sense Economics, says, people have a tendency to think of government, particularly a democratically elected government, as a corrective device. They act as if government is something like a pinch hitter who can always be counted on to deliver the game-winning hit. This view is false. A democratic government is merely a method of social organization, a process through which individuals collectively make choices and carry out activities. There is no assurance that a policy favored by the majority will promote economic progress. In fact, there is good reason to expect that unless the impulses of the majority are restrained, even popularly elected governments will often adopt policies that undermine economic prosperity. So when the government attempts to generate economic growth, it adopts policies that undermine economic prosperity. So, what should we do about the economy? The economy will work itself out. With the natural supply and demand working together, the economy will fix itself. But but when the government's trying to get involved, it's going to slow it down. So in reality, if these economic stimuluses or these bailouts get passed, this economic recession we're in can actually get prolonged. Is this what we want? Absolutely not. Therefore, the government should not bail out any industries nor stimulate the economy in any way, because does not follow sound economic reasoning and does not work.